quarterback offense with Baron Morton.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
yeah, they're fully whole, which I think it sounds like. I know that tight end's been banged up, Aaron Morton's been banged up. They're just a different team with them. I think he's just got a little bit better command of things. Maybe knows what to do with the football a little bit more. Probably not as much quarterback run game as what they would have without him. But the tight end presents some problems too, because they do a lot of things with him and moving him around and using him in different roles. And so they're probably scarier this week than they've been in the previous couple. And so we're going to have to get lined up and rock and roll.
What you do, Morton?
I think he just sees the field really well. I think that their whole deal is, let's play with tempo, let's see the picture, and let's get the football in space where it needs to be. If it's to the tailback, it's to the tailback. If it's on the perimeter in the RPOs, it's the perimeter in the RPOs. If it's the pass game, do I see one high, two high really well and get it where it goes? And that's hard. That's not an easy. It sounds kind of easy, but it's when things are moving fast and there's people disguising things and looking all over. Not everybody can do that, and so he does that, and he's been doing that for years, and so that's why they're so efficient right now.
Desmond Purnell's put together 2 really good games. What's he been doing so good for you?
Yeah, he's just been. I think it's a problem that I've seen with guys. And it generally happens in the beginning of the year. I think sometimes guys think I'm a senior or I'm I'm an above average player, and so they put all this pressure on themselves to perform and do things when really they just need to do their jobs and do what is slated for them to do. And it doesn't mean that if there's 68 plays in a game, it doesn't mean you're going to make all 68. But you better make the 9 that really matter to you. And I think that's what he's been doing. I think there's been times in his career, because he is a really good player, and he should feel like he can do a lot of things. But I think there's been times in his career where he puts maybe a little bit too much on himself and tries to do things that he doesn't need to try to do. And I think what he's been effective at lately, he's just been calm and doing his job and communicating on his side and helping the people around him. And, I agree with you. He's been phenomenal. He's been outstanding.
Gradual growth of your defense this year, game by game. Is that just what happens in a season, or getting used to your new scheme?
I think it's getting used to the new scheme. I do. I think that maybe some of the terminology and that stuff is the same, but the angles are different. The motion adjustments are different. There's things that just cause a little bit of hesitation with guys, and they're not major things. They're not things that if you sat them down in a room like this and talked about that they wouldn't understand, but when it's happening fast, it's a different matter altogether. And so I think that kind of caught us a little bit early. The Arizona game for sure, I think that guys are starting to understand maybe what we're doing a little bit better, and it certainly helps.
The turnovers you guys have been able to create, how much do you look at that stuff and think of it as luck? Because turnover could be seen that way a lot of times.
I used to think that way when we weren't getting them, but no, one message that I have for those guys all the time is we have to create turnovers, and that's exactly right. You're not going to get fumbles if you're not punching at the ball. Maybe once in a while it's rainy and the ball slips out of a guy's hand, you get lucky. But if you're not punching at the football, you're not going to get strips. If you're not catching the football, you're not going to get picks. It's and so that's part of it. The other part of it is, I think, again, going back kind of to the previous with the understanding of the scheme, and I think there was probably some times earlier in the year where we maybe did too much with our defensive line, and we didn't cut those guys loose as much as we needed to. We had talented guys in there, and we were, mushing them up too much, so to speak. And I think just the pressure on quarterbacks is a big deal. You look at that last interception that we had in the game against Kansas, you could look at that in 2 different ways. What happened was they threw a little check down over the middle. The ball came out kind of hot. The receiver got it in his fingertips just barely, and it fell into Gunnar Maldonado's, and Gunnar made a heck of a catch to make it. But if you break it down, we had a lot of pressure in that kid's face, which made the ball come out a little bit hotter. Asa Newsom made a great break on the wide out, so he's kind of making some contact with him when he was going up to catch it, which affected it. I mean, there was a lot of cause and effect in that play, more than just luck. So I think that there's something to the aggressive nature of what we're doing that helps.
In terms of grabbing your kids' attention after an emotional rivalry game like Kansas, does it help to get a team that's going to command your attention like Texas Tech?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, Coach Kleiman hit it square in the face on Monday when we had a team meeting. He said, guys, we played Kansas last year, and that was emotional. It's always going to be when you're playing those guys. And said we went the week following to Houston and probably played our worst game that we've played around here maybe ever. And he's right. And I don't. I think it's kind of got to do with the maturity of the guys too. I think we got a mature group of guys that are pretty focused on what they're doing day to day. So we've seen no drop off in the prep this week.
How good is this offensive line?
They've got some experience with, albeit maybe not at that school, but they're good at what they do. They don't, they're not just trying to get a whole bunch of movement all the time. I mean, they do a really good job of, keeping people out of gaps, and I think they do a good job of staying on people. I think they're good in the pass pro. So, with the ball getting out of his hands as quick as it does, sometimes they don't get as much heat on them as some other teams might have. So, I think they put together the right guys there.